behind me, 2008 Toyota Rav4 V6. We're gonna be replacing the spark plugs and the ignition coils. Let's get cracking. First thing we wanna do, pull off our engine cover. Should be held in with grommets, so we just pull up. There we go, pops off. Now the front three are easy breezy. We'll do those first so we can get an idea of how to replace the spark plugs, then we'll hop over to the rear. We'll pull off our electrical connectors. These should be a pinch and pull, but these connector locks tend to break. 2 of these are already broken. This one here, just pull off. This one here, just pull off. This one looks like it survived. If I were to pinch, it would probably break. So what I like to do is just take a pick, get it from the front and pull up on the tab while I push down on the back of it and then pull off. These are notorious for breaking. Don't worry about it if they accidentally break. When we plug these in, they'll stay in place. They won't come off. We can go ahead and disconnect this as well. Pop up on it. There we go. And then this over here, the VVT solenoid, it's just a pinch and pull. There we go. That just gives us a little more flex in our harness. 10mm bolts holds our coil in. I'll give them a twist and pull out. These are actually coming out pretty nicely. Okay. For our spark plugs, we have a long extension with a standard 5/8 spark plug socket. We'll put that in. Now this is best done with a warm engine. So if your engine is cold, before starting this, let it warm up for about 2 to 3 minutes. We don't want it hot, just good and warm. If you have come back from a drive, let it cool off for about a half an hour. Just a good and warm engine is all we need. Crack these loose. Get all of them loose first. There we go. Then we'll buzz them out. Putting our new plugs in, anti-seize is optional. I like putting it on, but that's up to you. A little anti-seize on the threads. And when we apply anti-seize, we want to make sure we don't get it on this white ceramic piece. Put that back in. Then we'll hand tighten this. No power tools going in. All right, it's bottomed out. We'll do our next one. A little anti-seize. And our last one. All right, now we'll get a torque spec for these. These are torqued to 13 foot-pounds. They have a crush washer on them, so as you're tightening, you'll feel that crush, and then it'll bottom out. Whether you're installing new ignition coils or your old ones back in, you want to take a little dielectric grease, put it on the tip of our boot, and then squish that around. This helps it slide over the spark plug easier and slide back off in the future. And we just set it in, and that's it. A little paste. Squish it around, slide it over. Little paste, squish it around, and slide it over. We'll install our bolts. We'll snug these down and plug it back in. And that's it. These 2 extra electrical connectors probably didn't need to come off. So if you don't want to take those off, don't worry about it. All right, now let's do the back 3. For that, we're gonna remove our intake manifold. It's not too scary, just a few things need to come off. We have this electrical connector back here. So you have to feel down here, but right about where this runner is, go straight back, and there's a bracket. It has a 12mm bolt on it. We just want to pull that bolt off. Just kind of gotta feel it. I'll show you once the manifold's off. Whoa, that was tight. Got it. Okay, get the rest of it by hand. All right, there she is. Next, we have a bracket on this side, also held by a 12mm bolt. Right behind the throttle body, just to the left of it. If you go down, you'll be able to feel that bolt. We'll pull that off as well. If I can get the rest of it by hand. There we go, got it. Now we'll take off our main bolts. We got 2 side nuts, 10mm. And the rest are a 5mm Allen. Get those 2 with a magnet. Then we're gonna get this hose here. Should just slide off pretty easy. We got this little hose here. Again, twist, pull, nice and easy. And then this hose as well. Pull, there we go, nice and easy. Because we're pulling off our throttle body, we're gonna take off our intake boot. We just pop this hose off, twist, pull, 10mm clamps. We're gonna unclip our air box. We'll allow it to move a little, then we'll just separate, there we go. And then pop this off. Come on. There we go. Get this little guy out of the way. Don't worry about the coolant hoses. Don't worry about the electrical connector. And we have 4 10mm bolts holding our throttle body on. And that'll just pop off. There's one. Now this bottom one had a little bracket. We'll make sure that gets bolted on with it. All right, now that's separated. I dropped one bolt in the back, but I see it. Got it. I want to say last is our brake booster hose, but we can leave that on. This whole thing can just swing out of the way. Perfect. That gives us clear access to our back 3 coils. Before we do any work back there, I'm gonna plug up our intake ports, put some rags in there so we don't drop anything. I wanna show you those brackets real quick. This is the passenger side bracket behind the manifold, 12 millimeter for that. And you can feel it when you put your finger down, you'll feel that. And then the one by the throttle body is right here. Again, just one 12 millimeter bolt. Now, as far as doing the spark plug, it's gonna be the exact same as the front. We're gonna pull off our electrical connectors and then get our coils out. The only difference on this is that this coil here is underneath this bracket. So there's one more 12 millimeter bolt in the back. Not too hard to get to. Let me see if I can show you. Just right there. We'll pop that off. We'll get that bracket out of the way. And then we can get this one coil off. I'm gonna try to set you up in a good location. Electrical connectors, pinch and pull. Oh, see, I didn't use my pick, and that's exactly what happens right here. Just that little clip breaks. It is so common. We'll pop that off. This middle one, I'll use a pick. It still has its little clip on it. Pull up and then back. There we go. And then this last one, I already had one broken. This thing has 220,000 miles on it, so things just get brittle over time. If you do want a little more flex in your harness, we can pop it off of these brackets here. There's a tab that flips back and you pull it up. And let me get this bracket. It's gonna be a 12 millimeter shallow. Use a deep socket on the manifold side of these brackets, but this one's a shallow. That came off really easy. Unscrew it. Hand's probably in your way, but all right, perfect. Now all these bracket bolts are the same size, so it doesn't matter if you get them mixed up. 10 mil for the coils. Twist and pull up. There we go. The easiest way to get these is with a 6-inch extension and then your socket on a wobbly. Then we can bend it 90 degrees while putting it in the spark plug tube. Crack it loose. The other one, just crack it loose. And last one. And we'll buzz these out. We'll hand thread our new plugs in. Now we'll torque them down. We have our new ignition coils. They give you just enough room. There we go. Okay, make sure the electrical connectors are not underneath them. Get the bolts back in. And I'll snug them down. Plug them in. Got our bracket we'll put back on. Now we're not gonna tighten this up, we're just gonna snug it down. That way we can move it to the location we need. And then we'll tighten it up when the manifold's on. Just gonna get it finger tight. All right, let's button her up. Pull out our towels. We wanna wipe off our surface. Wipe all this oil and any kind of grit off. There we go. On the underside of our manifold, we have our manifold gaskets. You have the option to reuse the old gaskets as long as they still protrude above their groove and the rubber is still flexible. But now would be a good time to replace them if they need it. Same with our throttle body gasket on this side. These are reusable rubber gaskets. We'll go ahead and lay it down. Get it over our in studs, perfect. I'm gonna put in this back bracket bolt. There we go. We just have to manipulate the manifold a little up or down or the bracket left or right, whatever you need. But we are in. We're just gonna finger snug. We're not gonna tighten this yet. These will get tightened last. Perfect. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and do this one as well. Let me get over. There we go. Okay, just finger tight. Put our 2 nuts on. Drop these down in. Get these hand threaded in first. Just a few threads on it. Torque these down. Still have our 2 nuts. Now we'll tighten up our back bracket. This one first. And we'll get this one. Okay. And then that bottom one I'm gonna get with a ratcheting wrench. Okay. You can get that with a regular wrench or a smaller ratchet. Then we have this plug here. You can toss on our throttle body. And this bottom front one has a little bracket. Snug those down. Torque them up. Throw our intake boot on. Lock in our air box. We'll tighten up our clamps. These clamps don't have to be too tight. Just good and snug. If we tighten them up too much, we can actually cut our boot with these wire clamps. Then we have our hoses. Okay, let's double check. I think that's everything. Let's go ahead and start it up. Nice, let's put our engine cover on. All right, that's it. Pretty basic. Pulling off that intake manifold may look a little intimidating when you look at it, but in reality, it's not too bad. Just basic hand tools can get this whole job done. I'll have a link in the description for the spark plugs, ignition coils, and the tools I used. Thanks for watching. Any questions, comment down below. See you on the next one.